We've got to hook up to the different platforms. We're on 14 platforms. So let
Oh,
me just
nice.
make sure they get on. Okay, so let me just wait till we see a few people walk in the door. All right. So those people that are watching the replay can already see us and hear us and feel us. We got a new brother, a new friend that we're going to get to know, Vince Keeton, uh, in here for the next hour. And just going to allow people time to come in. So I am going to put on the short intro. We'll be right back with this beautiful, beloved, brave brother. I've got a little take on his energy I'm going to share with you when we get back. We'll be right back. How's it going, everybody? We got this beautiful brother in front of us, Vince Keeton. We're fixing to jump into conversation in typical Soulogy fashion: spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what we're talking about or doing, courageous. The I am soul. And so I didn't know Vince, and I don't know Vince. We're going to get to know him together. And so I just popped onto his page. And, I always talk about, I think everybody should just pick up a phone and start filming themselves and just put your truth out, with warts and all, whatever comes. And so I'm going down his page, and he's got video after video, which I totally admire. And I didn't get a chance. I listened to part of one, which was very inspirational. But I'm going down his page, and these are the titles of his video. First of all, hashtag I got kids. I got 6, so we can talk about that. And then hashtag live inspired. So one of them's called Validate. Great Day is another one. Find What Works is another one. Let's see here. Don't be ashamed to be happy. Let's see. Overthinking leads to underperforming. You don't have to be great. Happy New Year. Let's get busy. Do you deserve it? Let's see what else we got. Authentic. Ain't easy. Live with uh-oh. He popped out on us. Hang on a second. He'll be back. He popped out on us. It's his signal. It's okay. He'll be back. But yeah, so he's got here, let's see, we're having a little trouble. Here he's back. You're back.
Sorry about that.
No. It's okay. Anytime we have
Perfect way to start.
well, anytime, exactly, right? Anytime we have technical difficulties, we always have a great show. So I was just telling people some of the titles to your videos. You come out a lot. We have 2. Uh-oh, I think his signal's having a difficulty, but it's all going to work out. But here he comes again. It's okay. We're just going to roll with it. We're just going to keep rolling with it. We're good.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I love the video titles. I love the energy. It sounds like Soulogy. Soulogy is another word for Holy Spirit or life force energy or whatever you want to call it. You get caught up in these names and semantics all the time. But welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in and honoring
Thank you
us
for
with
inviting me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my first question is, which I do a lot, I ask a lot when there's somebody new, is when did you wake up, or have you always been this weird?
Um, this has been a process. Slowly but surely, I've been waking up more and more. I've been clearing the fog from my vision. And I would say it's been about a year and a half process of just day
Wow.
by day, starting from affirmations. And it started just with affirmations, leaving the gym, just telling myself I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to have a great day. And then from there, I actually evolved into finally listening to Jim Rohn. He was the first person I listened to, and it was by accident. And once I heard the words, you can have more than you've got because you become more than you are." It was like a switch to clicked in my head, and from there, I've just been constantly trying to build myself because I can have more if I become more.
Yeah. That's it, man. I mean, there's so much complication out there and so convoluted, the chaotic atmosphere if you view it from that standpoint. But I'm a big believer in it all comes back to us. It's all about the internal transforming the external instead of trying to get the external fix. Which there's so many. We've done over 2,500 shows now, and this is a platform for people's truth, and everybody's perspective is different. I understand that. But there's people that come on here and talk about galactic visitations and, uh, you know, uh, connection with elementals and angelics. And then there's some that come on and it's just a intuitive kind of one voice of the universe relationship. And but the stories are pretty much follow the same theme, and that is at some point, and you're saying like a year and a half ago, but at some point, and of course, linear time has nothing to do with it. But at some point, a guidance came in, or a thought, or a voice, or an event that the person went, hey, I can be more than I am. I can do anything and have anything that I want. Was there anything that stands out that kind of made you go, hey, something's going on here that's different than I've been believing?
You know, I was a train conductor for a while, and the moment when I knew it was time to just do something different, I was actually sitting on a train and we were in a siding, I believe, for like 7 hours. And I just, I remember just sitting there looking out the window thinking, there is so much more to me than this. And it was the 4th of July, so the fireworks are going off. And so it's like this whole moment. But from then on, that next day, I started listening just to the affirmations, just to empower myself, saying that I just knew there was more.
Yeah.
I knew there had to be more, and so that was meant where it was time to make something happen and try to become something else.
Wow. Yeah. Work with what you have, where you're at, with what you got. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and then people come on here, and everybody's relationship with infinite intelligence or source or God or goddess or however you want to refer to that. Everyone's relationship is unique, just as we're all unique. How has that gone down for you? Do you have have you had any faces of the universe, come into your field, or is it like the one voice of the universe that you kind of have your dialogue with?
I believe in God. I believe in the universe, and so those are the two that I really kind of resonate with. I have moments every day, every day on myself. I get up at 2 in the morning just so I can have my entire morning with the universe and God, and just to ask for guidance now. And so I make sure to asking for something, obviously to be on the lookout for it, and take my signs. I believe I ask God for something, the universe grants it. Is kind of just how I believe it.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll ask God, and then I pay attention to what the universe is showing me, and I go from there and make sure to act accordingly. And it's going amazing for me.
Wow. And this has occurred over the last year and a half.
It's all within a year and a half.
So you put it out there, you know, and we can all talk about how it goes down: prayer, meditation, affirmations, chanting. You know, there's all different versions, but the bottom line is you put it out there, and then you look for the signs in the book that is your life, moment by moment, and you align. I'm kind of summarizing it, and you add or detract from it, but you align your thoughts, words, and actions with what you've put out there and what you're shown.
Yes, and yeah, it's really hard to explain. It's more of just feelings, and
Yeah,
so I'm asking for it's. And I know that seems like real, like almost shallow, but it's the truth. It's a feeling that I have, whether it's a feeling to contact this person, a feeling to say these words. I ask for something, I have this feeling, I act on the feeling. I don't question it anymore. I just believe in it and I go with it.
yeah, yeah. I was talking about this on the last show. David Icke's coming on tomorrow, which we're very grateful for. And I watched his movie that he came out with last year called Renegade last night, and it was the second time I'd seen it. I hadn't seen it in a few months, but some things came out or were shown or I was aware of that I wasn't aware the first time. And one of the things that he said, because I look at his life and the people that come on this show, and including you, have very similar journeys. And that is at some point they start to follow this feeling, this intuitiveness, this guidance, and the synchronistic things start to occur. And
Yes.
he said that in the movie. He said, he said two things. He said, one, he said from the get go, and this was back in like 1992 or 91, when he had kind of an awakening. He said, from that point forward, no matter what I was doing, no matter how much I was being ridiculed or whatever the case was, I knew I wasn't alone. Like there's this presence with me. And he said the second thing
Yeah.
is that when I followed the cookie crumb trail, like you're talking about, when I went with my feeling and in alignment, thoughts, words, and action, synchronicities just occurred. Like people came to me, information came to me. You know, if I'm going to write a book, he was saying the information that I needed came to me. So there's a lot to be said for that, right? I mean, it's there. You have to. Well, when anytime somebody says have to or need to, I run. But it seems like that this energy, whatever this is that's occurring in this prolific time, it works when you actualize it. It works when you step into it, right? It doesn't just come to you. You know, the universe doesn't just hand it to you on a platter unless it's your ass and once it teaches it. But
Yeah.
it's true though, right? I mean, that's been your experience, it sounds like.
Yes, I completely agree. And making sure my biggest thing is not questioning it anymore. I used to question why this, why that, and want to make sense of everything, but everything doesn't need to make sense. I
Yeah.
ask for what I ask for my goals, or I ask for my dreams, or I ask for my desires, or whatever I'm looking for, and I stay open to it. And when the opportunity presents itself, whether it's someone reaching out to me, I make sure to have massive action behind it because he has presented this opportunity to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just not it's there's no questioning, no questions. Let's just go. Let's create something. Let's be somebody. And
Yeah.
understanding like I am in control. I'm
Mm.
in control of this, and no one else. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter how they feel. Vince Keaton is in control of his life just like we all are.
Right on. Right on to that, man. Mic drop. But yeah, but yeah, and it's so funny too because like what you said earlier, I feel the same way, which is, and it sounds weird, and it's not really to be, at least in my opinion, to be understood at the human only comprehensive level, but is like I am in control, and I am in control by not being in control. Like, so like what you said, in other words, if I wake up and say, and I'm looking at a board, I guess you would call it a vision board, this equipment, I thought I needed, like this much equipment. And then as time goes on, I'm figuring out, oh my God, we need more and more and more equipment. So I don't look at like, how the hell is that going to happen? It's just like, this is the vision. I put it out there. My intentions are aligned with my heart, and get out of the way. Don't try to control, like understanding. Don't try to control how it happens. Just keep moving forward. And it sounds like, yeah, sounds like we're cut from the same branch of the tree of life.
Yeah, I agree. And, I found out the more questions I ask, the more complicated I make this entire thing. To me, a lot of this, as I've kind of grown, is has become like very simple.
Yeah.
The simpler I keep this, the more progression I make. The more questions and how more complicated I make this, the further along I don't go. And
Yeah.
I don't ask questions. Let's just go. Let's just believe. Why not
Yeah.
believe? Why are we not allowed to do it? Like, why can't it be great? I started asking these questions, and I started just acting. Why can't I be
Yeah.
great? I could be great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're made in the image. So, like,
Yeah,
I mean, this externalization of, and we can't understand everything, but I mean, those words, like certain things, whether it's in the Bible or in the other sacred text, or somebody says it, because so many people are such outstanding conduits for, for that infinite morphic field. But it's like, uh, we have all of this. What do we have not available to us? We might want to say it that way. We are limitless. And I know it sounds crazy because we're in this dense atmosphere, but maybe that's the big experience or experiment. Gods and goddesses in the flesh that can actually do the miraculous or the supernatural, uh, that's never done before. I feel like we're in virgin territory. And I also feel
yeah,
like we're on the cusp, of, great awakening doesn't even give it any credence, in my opinion. It's bigger than that. It's like something that's never been done before, and if we carry that energy like you do from the center of our life experience, which is ourselves, then I got to believe it's contagious. I got to
yeah,
believe that you light me up. I'm going to get, lit up. I'm going to go out and emulate that frequency, and then someone else is going to pick up on it. I mean, to me, that's the real virus.
yeah. And I just don't think we need to limit ourselves anymore. It's slowly becoming more and more possible to do more and more, and everything is impossible until someone does it.
Exactly.
That is one of my biggest beliefs. And so even if it's me becoming a billionaire, this is just far out there. But even if I said I wanted to be a billionaire, it's impossible until I go out there and do it. And having the belief, I just think it all starts with our belief, and not wanting to limit who we are. If you believe you can do it, you can go out there, and you will be surprised with how many doors start opening for you when you just believe in it.
Right on. Right on. I think everybody's had the experience in their life, particularly early in their life, be it when you're a teenager or you first start working, and like, say you get a new job, and there's a certain horizon or certain boundaries or parameters, and you don't know about it. And you just go out and do something, and you come back and they're like, wait, how did you do that? You can't do that. Well, why not? Well, I don't know why not. No one's ever done it. But, it's almost like a naivety, almost like a Forrest Gump thing, where you just go in and do something. And then, like you said, once you do it, somebody else starts doing it. And that's how this thing gets transformed. You're a transformer, I can tell. And, I can tell. Is that part of your internal process? I mean, do you see yourself as a transformer?
I see myself. I do. I. more than anything, I just believe in people so much and our ability to be great, like every single one of us. And what I am super excited to do is to tap into each person and help them realize that themselves. You know, I can see greatness in just, I feel like in everyone. And so helping, well, one, transforming my own life was a huge part, and having the realization of where I was and moving from there. But now I'm transforming my own life, and it's like I just want to transform others because this joy that I get to live with, I feel like everyone should experience it at some point in time. And so I put it out there every single day. We're gonna transform lives one at a time if it needs to be. Sometimes 10, sometimes 20, whatever it's gonna be. But yes, looking to transform lives.
Right on. Yeah, there's you put the hashtag I got kids, and there's a lot of talk on this show and in venues like this over the last year or so, where people are referring to, in one way or another, in their stories and their experiences, about this frequency that the children are bringing to the table. Not in verbalization so much, not in, hard, old human necessary evidence, but that there's this something coming from these children that is less encumbered, or less impeded, that's taken a hold in this world. So I got to ask you, what is the hashtag? What's behind the hashtag I got kids? And I'll just let you run with it from there.
So the hashtag I got kids is, we don't have to be restricted or not have our dreams because we have kids.
Mm,
And for the longest time, I would hear a lot of, I don't do this because I got my kids, and I don't do that, whatever it is. No, we don't use that as an excuse. I got kids and I'm tired. But you know what? I'm going to be here tomorrow to help us live inspired, is to help people just understand, like, we can still go for our goals. Matter of fact, we should go even harder for our goals because we have kids, to show them that, listen, you can be who you want to be. I don't want to just say it.
right.
Just saying it, that means nothing. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna live it. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna show you. So as you get older, I can put this into you as well, and you can go and be who you want to be. So that's the big part of the I got kids. I love having kids. It's the biggest blessing I've ever had, and without them, who knows where I would be.
How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
I have two. I have one daughter. She's 2. Her name is Dakota, and I have a son. He's 4. His name is Maverick.
Wow. Cool names
Yeah.
too, right? Cool name.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I know that, I would have to say, I've got 6 kids, and
Uh,
most of my last 9.5 years, I would say the reawakening period, they got older, I got older, and it's not, a situation where I'm in the house with them all the time and all that stuff, right? But if I look back at my life with them for 23 years, I had them in the house, right? And I learned so much from them. Like, for example, I used to be in the corporate world and I had a high level job, and I would be on a plane be gone 5 days a week and come home, and I get picked up by the wife and a car full of kids, and all I want to do is go home and go to bed. But one of the things they taught me was that what goes on in their life is just as important as what goes on in mine. So it doesn't matter if you're managing millions of dollars or running a bunch of offices or whatever the case is, their life is just as important, and I remember learning that lessons from them. But I've learned so many lessons from my kids. I know your kids are young, but do you get any kind of epiphanies or revelations hanging around them?
I do, more so with how free they are
Hmm.
and how they just live life. I mean, just free. And why can't I often, I just don't want to take that innocence away ever. I want them to forever live free. And so I do the best I can to encourage to be themselves. Listen, if you want to sing and dance, I'll sing and dance with you. If you, and this is something that I want to do with them until they have their own kids. Because as we get older, at least for myself, I feel like I had more and more like I started putting more and more masks on, and so it's like I had to hide
Yeah.
myself more and more, and it sucks. It sucks, and so as I take these masks off, I don't want to put a mask on them at all. I want
Right.
them to show their face and to be forever free. And so
Right.
that's what I learned, and that's what I get from them is how free they get to live. And so it actually encourages me to take each layer or each mask off each day.
Yeah. Buck naked to the soul, right?
But
Yes.
naked to the soul.
Yeah. That's one of the things that's really come out of this collective work I've been involved in is it like you said, it really is simple. It doesn't mean it's easy because of the conditioning
Yeah.
and programming, but it's like the universe is tapping me on the shoulder and everyone else, at least from my perspective, and saying, "Hey, all you got to do is just be you." Like there's something about that authenticity of a person, and we've all experienced it even before we woke up. Where you look at a person and who's just so comfortable in their own skin, and it could be a grandmother or a stranger or a lover or whatever the case is, but you're just like going, "Wow!" Like they don't even think twice; they just go. You know, it's a really to me like a frequency of presence. But like you said, I think kind of what you were saying was once you start doing it, it becomes second nature, as opposed to some of the behavioral patterns we've had to become second nature that we didn't question, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just living free. I mean, again, like you said, it's not that it's easy. It's for sure not easy. I mean, the work that goes into it, at least for myself, has been unbelievable. But I have to do that work in order to actually rip each mask off and to have this personal growth within myself. Because for whatever reason, it's not easy to be yourself. It's not easy to just be you. And I don't know when I got to that point, and I don't really care to pinpoint it
Exactly.
as much as I care to continue to grow from there and to make sure it doesn't happen to my kids.
Yeah. I think another part of these stories that's pretty common is at some point you're just like, it doesn't matter how I got here. The story doesn't
Yeah.
matter anymore. What matters is getting up in the morning, like you were talking about earlier, and just going for it. Now you've got. I don't want to be presumptuous, but so you've got a child that's 4 years old. Uh, you're in a partnership. You're in a union or a marriage.
I have a girlfriend.
You have a
Yeah.
girlfriend. Okay. So my question was, did you have a partner a year and a half ago that was with you before and after? I'm just curious as to like what that person's impression, or even a friend or a family member, like did you get any pushback or anything from people that said, "Hey, what are you doing?"
You know, there's always resistance when you want to change and do something different, and I got a lot of people thinking I was acting like I was better, and that's
Mm,
not what it was. Just because I don't want to get drunk or I don't want to go and party, doesn't mean I'm better. That just means I'm being cautious. I'm ready. I'm trying to prevent myself from making these same mistakes, and
yeah.
so I did have that kind of resistance. But as far as my partner goes, no, there was no resistance. It wasn't like a huge encouragement. That it wasn't a resistance. It was just a it is what it is type thing,
Yeah.
and which didn't bother me. It is what it is. But um, the thing when you're going through this growth, at least for myself, is don't become discouraged or don't be in like don't let someone make you feel bad because you want to be better.
Yeah.
Because I did. I had a couple guilt trips where I'm like, you know what? I should be there with everyone else. But in the overall scheme of things, I made the right decision. And you have to believe in what you're doing and understand. Listen, you're making the right decision for your life, not to humor anybody else, not to do anything for anyone else. Like, yes, it sucks. I missed out on the event, but you know what? I kept my sobriety, which was a huge part of what I was trying to do, knowing that I maybe didn't have the strength to go there and not drink.
Yeah.
And so that's what matters. You gotta just prioritize yourself,
Yeah.
and not in a self. Well, you got to be selfish, but not in a
Mhm.
mean way. But prioritize yourself, and whatever they say, if they're not with you and they don't want to support what you're doing, you know what? Then you got to cut them off, and that is okay. Cut them off until you're strong enough to deal with whatever they're bringing. If you want them back in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Hashtag to thine own self be true. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and that really, and I think what you said is a really good example where I hadn't heard it put that way, where people think, oh, you're better than me. But there's something about choosing yourself. I remember when I woke up, and I went on the streets for 2 years by my own choice, just that knowing that same thing that, is moving you and everybody else. And, uh, and I remember like, just understanding because I'd been through a lot. There was a lot of buildup, emotionally, physically, mentally, financial ruin, all kinds of stuff. And of course, with a bunch of kids and responsibilities, you just go on the street, start walking.
yeah,
But what I understood was, or what I was told was, you have kind of, and we've all can relate to this. I think you've kind of depleted yourself because of the mask you've worn, and because of the lack of priority for self. And the universe, God said to me, you know what? Even if you never talk to your kids again, your family, your friends, the best thing you can do for yourself and for them is to be as close to 100% spiritually healthy as possible. And
agreed.
and I didn't really understand, and I'm not saying I do now, but at some level I understood that in the non-physical, in the etherical, in the spiritual, whatever you want to call it, that illumination, speaking metaphorically, or that energy would be felt and would in it like a tuning fork, And so those that you love are best served by, serving yourself first in the respect that you're talking about. So I totally get that.
Yeah, and if I don't fill myself up, how can I pour into my kids?
Yeah.
Like I could never pour into them, and so that was actually a huge part of my of this whole process as well. Is I wanted to be the influence to my kids. I want to be my kids' heroes. I love the fact that people love LeBron and all this stuff, but you know what? I want my kids to have my picture. I want my kids to have my picture on the wall, like I do. I want to be the person that they look up to, and so it really drives me. It really motivates me to get up and get going and to figure this whole thing out, so they can have someone that they're proud of, and someone that has impacted their life in a positive way.
Yeah. And then, of course, a lot of talk, really, since the beginning of or whatever, the original being or whatever. I don't know, Adam, Eve, whatever. But the not always romantic, but the personal relationship closest to you, right? I mean, like, and I know there's more than one when you start to have kids, but the mirror, right? The person that you live with, that you interact with at that level, uh, during this type of transition, can be they are so influential, so important. I mean,
Hmm.
and I don't know how that's gone for you, but I mean, I talk to a lot of couples and then people that are in a partnership. Sometimes they're talking about this kind of stuff at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sometimes I hear, we don't really talk about this stuff, but they're kind of intuitively doing their thing, and we're in alignment, and they fully support me. I would imagine that having young kids in that are in your life, and being in a relationship, you must have had some congruence there. Must be a special person.
Yeah, and it's cool because she does support what I do. I think. Let me think of how to say this. She supports what I do, and I don't know if it's always clicking necessarily the way that I wanted to, but the reality is the support is there. And when I needed the support and I needed someone to talk to, because it's when you start, at least for myself, when I started growing, it was a lonely period.
That's right.
I felt super alone, like there was no one to talk to, like there was no one that can relate. And so it's kind of cool that I kind of uh, that part right there. Speaking of that, is a lot of I can see how a lot of people will quit when you get to that point because I thought about it several times, and I'm so glad that I kept working on myself because now that I've kind of bust through that wall, there is a million people that have been through this, and so I'm able to network and meet a ton of people. But I digress. Um, she's great. She's great. She's there. She supports, and I appreciate her more than she ever will know. I really do.
Yeah, I go through those thoughts every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
my wife and I clasp our hands every night when we go to bed. We have for I don't know, forever. But and I was thinking about that last night. I thought I was laying there and I was thinking about this. Maybe that's why I asked it. And I was going, wait a minute. You're laying next to your closest mirror, and of course,
Yeah.
relationships are relationships, right? I mean, and it's such a great laboratory, for lack of a better word, an experimental environment, you might want to say, of putting to walking the talk of it's never them, it's always me. Just like you were saying,
Yeah.
you put it out there, and then what is the universe showing me? The universe isn't doing anything to you. God isn't doing anything to you. It's doing it for you. You know,
Yes.
the information is there. And I was laying there going, she's a goddess. I mean, she's a goddess. And then I thought to myself, well, then what does that make you? And then I just went, boom.
Yep. It's so true.
Yeah, really is. So,
Uh,
yeah, like, so you said you worked on the railroad. Did you leave that job and start your own thing, or what did you do?
oh man, I did leave that, and that was not a popular decision by my family. They did not like that at all. It was a good job, and it was it's hard to explain that you're leaving this job that which was good money for me. It was like 110 a year
Wow.
to try to find yourself and to try to build yourself, and it's hard to explain that. And then as I started developing myself, I realized I never had to explain myself anyways. I live my own life
Yeah,
and it's about me. And if I was unhappy doing that, then who cares?
that's
And
right.
and as I'm starting to pick up steam now, the best decision I ever made was leaving the railroad because had I stayed there, then I have the house and I have the car, and now I'm kind of stuck in this situation because of all the things that I've purchased financially, but I'm miserable.
Right.
It it wasn't a popular decision, but it was a
Oh, I
decision
know
that
you're with like-minded people that have had
yeah.
the same experiential aspect. You're with the crazy people, so you're not
Yeah,
crazy anymore.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
so true.
I can relate to that. I mean, absolutely relate to that. And I remember, which was a very traumatic time when I first went on the street. But I remember one of the things that didn't feel normal, but it sure felt right. And that was I walked out and I'm literally homeless, and I was like, man, something's different. Like all this weight was off my shoulders, all this programming to perform and provide. And I know we provide as parents, but I'm talking about at of um, a level that was debilitating to my spirit. Like it was like,
Yeah,
no, this is not aligning with. It hurts my soul, you know, like it hurts my soul. And but yeah, what a liberating feeling as time went on. And it is worth it. I would tell people two things that you said that I can reinforce. And one is, whether it was a year ago or a day ago or an hour ago or an hour from now, when you make that choice, and I used to write this all the time when I'd upload Soulogy from the streets, faith can be a lonely existence, even if there's 1,000 people standing with you. But the other thing
Yeah.
is the level of liberation and sovereignty. You can't argue with it. You know,
Agreed.
can't.
I
It's where the
completely.
miracles. It's where the miracles and the magic come.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And just knowing that I made a decision for myself was just so powerful, and for my kids. And even though people didn't understand it because financially it wasn't the best decision for my kids, but emotionally and what I'm going to be able to provide for them later spiritually, it was the best decision. And and they don't have to see it that way. And that's the biggest thing that I always want to tell people and encourage them that everyone doesn't need to understand because they won't. Everyone has an opinion of how you should live your life, and yet they don't live their own life that way. So we can't take criticism or advice from anyone, unless it's something positive.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just not about it. I love the fact that now it's just part of my story. At the time, it was the worst time of my life. Now it's just part of my story, and just know that whenever you're going through all of this stuff, that's what it'll be. It'll just be part of your story.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you'll look at it with more. You'll look back on it with a lot more reverence, and you can't even see it at the time. It's just like one of
Yeah,
many things that are just. But yeah, I get what you're saying totally. I mean, and again, the people say, well, okay, like what you were saying. People say, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And I don't understand why you don't do this. And I don't understand why you do. And it's like, because I don't want to, which is my way of saying, because it doesn't feel like you use that word feeling. Like, how do you explain this, Todd? I mean, it's a feeling, and that's what it is. It's not, I mean, I think if we're expanding, obviously we are, there's so much evidence of it, but it's not just one aspect of us, or even of our experience, it's all across the board. And one of those things I think is communication. Like there's a different math, there's a different language, and that language
hmm
may not even have words, right? It's just
yeah,
like what you're talking about, the actions, the thoughts, and alignment, and wow, I mean, it's really, to me, perseverance is one of the things that pops in my head, uh, where the human is the hero. Like, I'm going to do this because I know I'm here to do this kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah,
fascinating thing.
and communication, it's cool because as I feel like I'm growing and my energy is becoming stronger and I become more magnetic, I am communicating with other people that I haven't even physically talked to yet. And I have people reaching out to me constantly doing work. And so it's if you're not in that mindset, it's hard to explain. But because I'm with the crazies, we all get it. We all understand what I'm talking about. And so it's such an amazing feeling, this magnetic feeling. And as I attract more and more amazing people, it just makes me want to grow more and more.
So what are your dreams? Where are you headed? Do you
The
know?
ultimate dream, the ultimate dream is to be financially free, and it's not just to have a bunch of toys as much as it is to spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
I still do my 9 to 5, and I think it's very important to me. It's very important to me to be a part of my kids' life, like
Yeah.
more than the babysitter.
Yeah.
I want to impact my kids. I want to be the main part of their life, and so I want to get to it while they're young. And so I need to. I'm really working on it, but that's one of the major dreams is just showing is being financially free. I definitely have. I started working on. We have a podcast coming out. It's called Mended. I'm super excited about that. Just
Well,
to try to help some people. Just getting on different platforms and empowering people. I love it. I love this feeling of just freedom, and I just feel like everyone should have this feeling. And so that's kind of one of my big dreams is kind of to link up with people and to push push this energy and this empowerment upon people.
yeah. Yeah, I like that about the kids too, because like you were talking about earlier, priorities. We've been conditioned to think, get the job, get on the career track, get the money, get the house, get the car, and somewhere in there is the kids. Right?
Yeah.
It's like the story I
Yeah.
told about being a senior executive and not realizing my kids' lives was is important, really more important than my own. But I remember when I hit the wall, would have been 15, I don't know, 15 years ago. I'd gone from working for major companies to consulting, and I landed a gig in Huntington Beach, California. I lived 2 blocks from the beach. I lived 3 miles from my office, which if you're in LA, that's like, that's like heaven. It took me 7 minutes to get to the office. I'm making 15 grand a month. Uh, but I hit the wall. My soul said, "This hurts. I'm done. Stick a fork in my ass. I'm done." So I did what we all these crazies do, and I just quit my job. And I didn't have a plan, but my only focus was I want to be with my kids because it was summertime. Some of the kids live with their mom because I it was a there was a divorce, and that summer I had them all. So for the next 6 weeks, I laid on the beach with my kids every day
Yeah.
and just bawled out, you know. And miraculously, as these things happen, opportunity was given for a month, and then another opportunity for 6 weeks, and then it's weird. It's backwards, right? We're taught to go build all this, and then by the time we've achieved everything or think we have, it's time to retire, and then we got to use our retirement to pay for our medical bills and our funeral. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like what you said. You have this priority, and then the universe conspires with you. You know.
For sure. And it's funny you quit your job. I mean, I did that twice. And I did that with the railroad. And then I actually did it during this pandemic.
Yeah.
In March, I don't know if you saw that video, but in March, we're going, it's pandemic and everyone's kind of freaking out about their job. And I felt like I had outgrown it and something was just telling me to leave.
Yeah.
And I literally just quit my job, not having a plan, not I mean, nothing in mind. I just quit, and things have worked out amazingly. But it's just a belief in, and it's just a belief
Yeah.
that things are going to work out. And I know that it's sketchy or whatever you want to. It seems maybe shallow or I don't know. I don't really care because
You
it's
know,
how I work.
no, I get you. Some of these things, everything is a simple, profound truth, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
Like, you can get into all these different things, and when you get right down to it, to thine own self be true, or knock and the door will be opened, but it's like, yeah, they sound like a cliche,
There
or
it is.
new ageism, or some type of you're speaking in platitudes, and just it can be construed a lot of different. But the truth is the truth. It's a very simple. I
Hmm.
remember again when I reawoke, or whatever you want to call it. Uh, you know, I remember hearing, "Keep it simple," because I knew I was on the same type of path you were. That's one thing I knew. They said, "You're going to be out there." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But they said, "Keep it simple." There is one God, one source. There is a perfect order. You can call it the golden rule. You can call it cause and effect, or and that there is one unique and equal soul in every one of you. And I was like, boom, okay, boom. Like I am not complete without the universe, but the universe is not complete without me.
Uh,
So
yes.
that new math, that new language, that whatever you want to call it, there's a part of us that gets it, regardless of whether the human brain gets it, the human mind.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. It's we all make this happen. I'm a big believer in that, and we all have our special abilities, and it's up to us to tap into them.
Yeah.
And whether it's mine is empowering people or encouraging them, that's just my thing. But what someone else might make some great food, and someone else might do great hair. Whatever it is, man, it's all part of just the universe and all of our talents that we all have, and the special ability that we are meant to hone in on and bring this kind of joy to each other. At least that's how I feel about it.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's like a big soul soup, you know.
Yes.
I know I'm biased, I do. If I just know it in terms of the earth and the human. We use the hashtag I am sold. Hashtag the human is the hero. But the way I look at it is, I'm never gonna probably understand this whole thing. I mean, I'd have to have all access to at all times to all my multidimensionality or whatever it is that I am. The made in the image. But we all showed up. Every one of us showed up. And I don't care if you are the biggest narcissist on the planet or the biggest empath or anything in between. Everybody's relevant. We wouldn't be complete without them. We can't understand the dance of dark and light and good and evil and all that. I don't care who it is, and they can say they can, but I always look at it this way: if I was that creator, you know, uh, or say any parent, you're a parent, you know, you would never put the fire out of your child. You
No.
would, you would never, you know, kill or extinguish that essence. You know what I mean? You're a transformer.
Yeah.
I'm a transformer. Our what we were made in the image of obviously has transformational abilities. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like there's something taking hold on this earth. I believe that is going to bring everything to the center. And I know it sounds crazy, and there's a lot of polarity and you know duality still out there, but I have faith in us.
I do too. I do. I really do with all my heart. I do, and maybe that's what keeps me making videos is because it's not going to happen all at once. But you know what? If I can get to that person can pour into someone else, and that person can pour into someone else. And I look at it as, when the candle passes its flame to another candle, it doesn't take away from the other. And so I'm just looking to light fires in as many people as I can so we can continue to light fires around the earth and just be together. Like I just believe in us as a society, and I know we'll pull through and we'll all figure it out eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, and all of us, because typically somebody comes on here that has your kind of energy, they're going to get some messages, uh,
Uh-huh.
some inquiries. Um, where are you at as far as accessibility on the internet? I know you're on Facebook. You mentioned you're having a new podcast coming out. Let me know, or let us know, where we can find you. And also, what do you offer, if anything, online as far as um, working with people, sessions, that energy work, or coaching, or whatever it is that you do?
So you can find me. You can either follow me on Vincent Keaton. I actually have a group called Inspired Living as well that you can go and follow. I post videos daily for the most part.
Is that on
I do
Facebook?
have a
Inspired
task book.
Living?
Yes,
Is
I'm
that
sorry. The Inspired Living is on Facebook, and you can follow me on Instagram at Inspired Living as well, and I post in both of those.
okay?
I do have a YouTube. I'm starting my YouTube. It's up and running, and so that's Inspired Living 21. Uh, uh, yeah, and so like I said, I have a podcast coming out. It's called Mended. I look forward to working with James. We're going to do great things and really just put this great energy out and really try to change, not so much change, but just put fire in people and get them to go and just be the best version of themselves.
Yeah, yeah. That's the best offering we can make, isn't it? And we
Exactly.
don't have to, and we don't have to march. We don't have to protest. We don't have to boycott. you know, we just have to be us. And it's like, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's at least I'm convinced that it's you know,
Yeah.
I remember too, and I've mentioned this a lot on the shows, but uh, I was told in those early days, because you know, and I know you could probably relate to this too. You start going through this transformation, and certainly in the first part of it, that human aspect is still there. Like, you just quit your job, or you know, you did this or you did that, you know, and so and you get all this information or the feelings that you're talking about, and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? And I remember hearing, whatever you do, don't do anything that's been done before, whether in regard to yourself or you know whatever I mean. What I mean, but like, do something different. I like what you said at the beginning of the show, because that's another thing I got was like, here's you know, here's the so-called problem or challenge or whatever the circumstance is. What do you do? You know, we were so like resolution oriented. Okay, if I do this, if I push this button, I get this back. But I heard, create your way out.
Exactly.
I was like, boom,
Exactly.
you know, that's the
We
first.
have that power.
That's
We
right.
have that power.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you want to commentate on? Anything you want to do before we get out of here? You know, I'm not really sure.
You
Uh,
know, the only thing I just want to do is seriously just encourage people to be you. We like the right people will come by you if you be who you are. You be honest with yourself. Take these masks off and just go and live your best life.
yeah, right on. Right on. Can't argue with that. It's nice to have a conversation. Not that I have any problem with having a conversation about things that are going on in the world, but to me, this is the real story. The real story
Yeah.
is the human spirit, the individual. My wife has told me for 5+ years, the road to oneness is through individuality. Individuality is not a bad word. It's not a selfish, uh, approach. It's honoring, honoring the child made in the image. So honoring yourself.
Yes.
You know, you can only really, love, respect, honor, and revere what's outside of you as much as you do the same within yourself. So thank you for your thank you for your time and sharing space. And I'd love to collaborate with you later in 2021, if you're up for it.
Would love. I would love that.
And yeah, thank you for your service to humanity. And send me, I'll send you a friend request if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'll put you on the spot here. I don't send me a friend request, but I'll send you a friend request and send me a message when you launch your YouTube. And
Okay.
yeah, and I'd encourage you to join the Soulogy group. There's a lot of active people in that group. A lot of people, can gain traction by putting their work out on there and building their communities and building their, building the following for whatever they're doing. So yeah,
Uh, Thank you so much for this. I appreciate you.
absolutely. All blessings to you and your beautiful crew over there, and wish you the best on everything you're doing. And I look forward to collaborating with you down the road.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you.